Hey everyone, this is Rachel and I'm here with another process video. I forgot to tape the first part of this and I am using the Shine collection from We Are Memory Keepers, and the only thing I've done is taken this paper with the chevrons in it and cut it into triangles. And I'm trying to decide, and I also put 2 layers of pattern paper on as mats on my photo, that one 4x6 photo I have of my nephew and his best friend, and I'm just playing around with it and seeing what I like, and I decide to do this band of the triangles across the bottom and then the one up in the left hand corner as kind of a top flag thing. And I have inked all of the edges with Hickory Smoke Distress ink in order to just kind of give them a little bit of depth, because everything has that kind of faded look. And if you saw that little hand there, at the time I was taping this, which is probably why I forgot to tape the first part, a friend of mine was here and her little girls were very interested in what I was doing. So I'm going to go ahead and use my T-square ruler to get these so they're straight across. And as I'm starting to do this, I actually come up with what I think is, of course, a brilliant idea. I just like the way it turned out. Was instead of doing the triangles straight across, I kind of jig them up and down so so the ones facing downwards are straight across and the ones facing upwards are straight across, but they kind of jig back and forth between that. If that made any sense, it's very surprising to me. Let's just move on now. Now, this is one of those videos that it kind of sat in my library for a while, so I actually did this a couple of months ago, so you might see some older stuff like my older fine line bottle, or maybe something I have since run out of, but I just wanted to let you know that this was done back, I believe, in January, and I just never got around to doing the voiceover. So I've got that down, but I want to add a little bits on the end, and I'm just looking around trying to see what I have left over that I can use without having to cut a full page. So because I have the leftovers from what I had cut before, and so I'm just making sure they all line up, and then I need to figure out how to do the other end. And I'm sure there was about 17 different easier ways to do it, but I could not figure it out on the top of my head, so I ended up recutting another piece, and then I couldn't figure out which was the correct piece to use, which would give me the correct angle. Geometry was not my strong suit, I have to say that. So once I finish that, the page doesn't actually take a long time, except for the fact that my title work takes forever because I can't find letters that will work for me. So that takes a huge amount of time, but I'm finally done with all my paper. I'm going to trim up everything that's hanging off the end of the page and start moving on to the next part, which is going to be starting to embellish as soon as I put stuff away, or I don't know what I was thinking there. Anyways, I do have these cork pieces that go along with this Shine collection, but that's the only embellishment I have to go with it. So I decided to go into my wood veneer because I think that will go really nice. These containers are actually from the Container Store. I have 2 of them, and they hold all of my small wood veneer. I have another of those 5x7 iris cases that they sell in Michael's, and those hold some larger pieces of wood veneer I have. I have some wood veneer words, and then a couple of just larger pieces, like some are 3x4 cards I think I got from Freckled Fawn and stuff like that. But I decided to go with, and look, it's Xanthe. Xanthe has decided to join us once again. And while I'm digging around looking for a piece of flair, I decide to just let her go and see if she'll get bored with me and leave on her own before I have to decide to get rid of her. Or if I pet her, she'll go away, but that's a no, so I have to lift her off myself. Now my flair I also keep in an iris container, one of the small ones I got from Michael's, and I do pull that one that kind of has like a little pattern on it to go in the lower left-hand corner. As I was saying before about my wood veneer, I decided on plus signs for this particular layout, and then also an ampersand, because who doesn't love an ampersand? Alright, so for part of my title, I am using these older thickers. They are chipboard, and they are khaki colored with a thin white diagonal stripe through them. And then for the other part of my title, I was planning on using these L Studio ones in khaki, but they don't have enough E's. Is it E's that I'm not? I think it's E's that I'm missing. And then I go, once I figure out, oh, you don't have enough, and I don't have a second sheet of these, I start to go through all of my other L Studio alphas. I have a lot. And so I'm going through, and either the color doesn't work, or once again with these gray ones, because the cool thing about this shine layout, the shine line, is it has both grays and browns in it, so you can use both silver and gold, or both brown and gray. And I just didn't have enough E's in those gray as well, so I find these Webster Pages wood veneer looking ones, and I'm going to go ahead and use that. So the entire title for this is Nerdy Gift Exchange. And it was just a funny story, and I'll explain it when I start doing my journaling. As I said, I did use that cork piece banner in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to add more cork pieces to all three of my embellishment cluster areas, and I'm going to follow the rule of 3 in this particular one with an upper left and then upper right over by the title, and then a lower left-hand one as well. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those down because they are chipboard, so obviously they're not going to stick on their own. Thickers don't actually stick very well, do they? As I've mentioned, and then kept cutting myself off, I am using plus signs for my wood veneer. I have kind of a love-hate with plus signs. I find I really like them for specific layouts, and I can't even explain my own reasoning for it, but sometimes I see them and I'm just like, ugh, plus signs, yuck. And then for some reason here, I'm like, ooh, plus signs will work perfectly. And then I grab another one of those cork pieces, this time the star, and then I grab 2 more stars to add down on the lower left-hand side. That smaller star isn't going to stay there. I'm going to move it in just a little bit. I'm going to move it down a little bit just to create a better cluster to my eye. Alrighty, now I have finished my embellishing, and it is time to mist. And as I said before, the cool thing about this shine line, and this is from a couple years ago, I think fall of 2015, so not old, but just a little bit older, is you can use both gold and silver. So I used my Heidi Swap gold color shine, and then also my Shimmers Paints Shimmers in Concrete, which is such a pretty color. And apparently I really wanted a silver dot right there. Sometimes I make myself laugh when I see how particular I am, and then afterwards I'm like, and I probably wouldn't even notice if I wasn't the one who had done it. Alright, we are almost finished here. It is time for some journaling. This is a picture of my nephew's 16th birthday, and that is a picture of him and his best friend. His birthday is actually the day after Christmas, and so his best friend gave him a gift, and then he gave his best friend a gift, his Christmas gift, and they both turned out to be t-shirts from the show Stranger Things. So that was a joke. It was a nerdy gift exchange because, you know, how nerdy can you be giving each other shirts from the same TV show? Alright, that is going to complete this layout for today. Thank you guys so much for joining me here. If you could flip me a thumbs up, that would be super awesome. Thanks again for all your well wishes after the passing of my mom. That was incredibly sweet of all of you. Alright, everyone. Bye!